Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Wanted to talk about VA funny math, the monkey math that the VA uses in order to decipher what your individual VA service-connected disability rating will be and what you will be paid out at. Now, there's a couple different things here. One, and it's true, the closer you get, the harder it is to get to the next stage. The second piece here is that although there are all of these ratings that combine up to a specific rating, the VA most often doesn't use that actual rating. They have to round up or down. Most of the time, we don't fall on the 10% exact markers. So the VA funny math will take us to a raw rating, and then the VA will round us to the nearest 10. In other words, an 84 becomes a 80, and a 86 or 85 becomes a 90. So it's important to understand that because you need to know where you are so you can understand where you're going. And I feel kind of like I need to say this with all of the bad press out there, going after the benefits and sharing information about the benefits that you've earned so you understand how they work, and utilizing secondary conditions, and maybe you missed a service-connected condition. Maybe you are due an increase because your condition has gotten worse over time, or maybe you were lowballed out the gate and you need to correct that. These are all important things, and it's important to understand where the dust settles with it all so you can understand what your proper rating should be. We're going to dive into it here. I'm also going to talk about the bilateral factor. You may have heard about the bilateral factor. This is an extra little bump that the VA gives you as well, in addition to your standard rating. So we'll dive into that too. Before we jump into it, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. Every thumbs up, every minute watched really does help the channel. I appreciate your support very much. I know that I talk way too much, and I apologize. That's Stan in the background. For those who don't know, I have a rooster hat. That's Stan. So if you need help with your claim, we're here to help. I'll keep that part short. Evidence-based VA claims. If you can't find a capable and competent accredited resource, I am a former accredited veteran service officer. We have a former rater on the team as well. We have a solid team that can help you. We will do a free email consultation for you and see if there is a path for you to move forward. Now, there is also a VA calculator online. I'll try to remember to put that in the links for you. VA calculator is simply plug in your ratings, your conditions, and it'll add them all up. The only thing that it doesn't have, at least the last time I looked, was anything regarding the bilateral factor, which is kind of weird since it is the VA. All right, so let me give you my quick example on VA funny math. So 50 and 50, certainly 50% ratings. If you had two 50% ratings, they certainly do not add up to 100 like they would in the real world. And if you had three 50s, well, in the real world, that would be 150. But in VA world, it is not 150. So let's talk about it just because this is an easy one to use. And you would think, wow, with 350s, you would think you'd be at 100. But you're not. So what happens with your VA disability compensation percentages? Number one, the VA looks at your conditions that you filed for, and then they look at the DBQ. This is why the DBQ is important. The Disability Benefits Questionnaire is really the single most important piece of paper when it comes to deciphering the severity of your condition as it relates to the rating schedule, which deciphers what rating you're going to get for that condition. So, garbage in, garbage out. You don't say everything. You don't explain everything. Well, that's going to be placed into DBQ, and then that's what the VA is going to work off of. And conversely, if you dialed in and you understood exactly what the VA was looking for as related to your condition, you could have a very serious conversation about where you are with your doctor and have your doctor complete out the DBQ appropriately so you could be rated appropriately as well. If your doctor can't, won't, or doesn't, utilize AME, American Medical Experts, board certified docs, and they understand the VA claims process. Their link will be in the description as well. All right, so 350s, first 50% rated right? Looked at your conditions, read the DBQ, looked at the rating schedule, said you're clearly a 50%. So 50% is how much you are bad. So you're 50% bad. Well, that means that you're still 50% good. They look for your next highest rating. And in this case, they're all the same. So next rating comes in 50%. Well, you're 50% good. So 50% of that 50% good is 25. So 25% bad gets added to your current 50% bad, meaning you're now 75% bad. Well, the VA likes to go, well, you're still 25% good, aren't you? Yes, you are. So now your next rating, this is the last one, 50%. 50% of your 25% good, well, that is 12.5. So 12.5 added to your 75 bad is 87.5. They look, there's no more ratings. That 87.5 really, as a raw score, turns into an 88. So really, your rating is 88. 88. So you're an 88% rated veteran, but for rating purposes, they round you to the nearest 10. In this case, they're going to round you up to 90%. So 350s is a 90% rating. But really, remember, you're an 88. So you got to bridge that gap now from 88 to 95. So that's a 7-point spread versus somebody who, let's say, is 94%. If they're rated 94%, they're still a 90, but they're only one away from moving to the next level, in that case, 100%. Now let's talk about the bilateral factor. The bilateral factor, this happens when you have two extremities that are impacted. Okay, oftentimes you'll see, whatever, arms or legs, right? Typically. So let's say your legs, whatever it may be. Could be radiculopathy shooting down both of your legs, or it could be knee conditions on both of your legs. Because both of your legs are impacted, you have the bilateral, factor that comes into play because it's both extremities. Now, let's just, for argument's sake, say that you're 20% on the left leg and you're 10% on the other leg. Okay, well, those two ratings with VA math, remember, VA funny math, if that was your only rating, okay, were these two ratings, 20 and a 10, they're going to take your largest rating first, 20%. You're 20% bad, that means you're 80% good. Okay, next rating, 10%. 10% of that 80% good is 8. So 8 plus the 20 is now 28. So now you're 28% rated for those two conditions, right? Left and right. So 28% is your rating. However, because it's both extremities, they're going to add a 10% of that amount to itself. So 28% plus 10% of itself. So 10% of 28 is 2.8. So 2.8 added to the 28 is now 30.8. So 30.8% is the calculation there. And again, if this was your only rating, so if you had left leg, right leg issues, one was 20, one was 10, you would be rated 28 plus the bilateral factor takes you to 30.8. That would then round to 31. 31, it would be a raw rating, and it would round down back to a 30. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but in some cases, it's that one little piece that tips you over the edge, right? So if you're one away from the next level, in as far as ratings are concerned, it could push you over the top. So just kind of, it's important, I believe, it is so important to understand where you are so you can understand where you're going. And I look at it this way. You have a whole big plate of VA benefits that you've earned. And it's up to you to make sure that you are being properly rated. Get all of your service-connected conditions, your direct service connections, any secondaries that are due to a primary condition causing another issue, or maybe medications are causing a problem. Those are really considered secondary conditions. Get those filed. Make sure that all of your conditions are properly rated. Were you lowballed? Did you miss something? Did you not say something that would have warranted a higher rating? In some cases, not all, in some cases, medication prescriptions could boost the rating higher. And the other piece would be, has your condition gotten worse? Do you now meet the criteria for the next tier? Also, presumptives and TERA, all of that stuff is constantly changing. We've gotten some new information through the PACT Act that has gotten implemented regarding presumptives for Gulf War and a couple for Vietnam folks, and the Camp Lejeune drinking water situation and all of that. So make sure you're properly rated. At the end of the day, don't let anybody shame you away from utilizing the benefits that you were given due to your time in service, right? You gave, now you're the recipient, right? It's how it works. There is nobody, 0 people out there, none, that would go work for any other organization in the world and have part of their benefits package be X and tied to some sort of a vesting clause. You have to do, 5 years of service with our company, and then you get these benefit package, right? That's includes stocks and whatever. There's nobody that would do their time and then leave the organization and say, no, it's fine. You can keep all of those benefits. I don't need those stock options or whatever you got. I don't need any of that. You can keep them. Give them to somebody else. Nobody would say that. 0 people, 0 would say that. We need to start treating our benefits as though they were actually our benefits to begin with. And I'm going to actually do a video on that because I'm getting irritated now. So with that, thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.